So in my opinion, you're leaving money on the table by not doing this. You're actually making less money. You're actually holding yourself back. You're actually not streamlining everything that you want streamlining, and you're losing money by not doing this.
Most hosts never achieve the results they hoped for. They're falling short on listenership and monetization, meaning their message isn't being heard and their show ends up costing them money. This podcast was created to help you grow your listenership and make money while you're at it. Get ready to take notes. Here's your host, Adam Adams.
It's another episode of the podcast on podcasting, and it's me again, Adam A. Adams. Welcome to the podcast. Today, I really want to talk about hiring a consultant. Should you or should you not hire a consultant? Consultants are generally pretty expensive. They can be $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, or even $40,000 to have a consultant working with you on your podcast. So what would make you decide if you're going to make that decision or not? Like we talked about in the last episode that I did a solo episode on, Pitfall number 14, you're losing money by not hiring an editor. We talked about growth mindset versus scarcity mindset. And as I talk about this $40,000-ish or $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 that it may cost somebody as an investment to work with and hire a consultant to join them on their podcast, it actually can be an investment. And so I get it if you're having like a scarcity thought, like, man, Adam's just trying to get me to pay him, or Adam's just trying to get me to spend 40 grand on someone. And by the way, I don't charge anywhere near $40,000 for this stuff. So just let me just mention that to you now. But anyways, like, hey, Adam's trying to get me to spend more money than I have. That's not what I'm trying to do. I want to make sure that you're prepared and you have the right things to think about in order to knowing if you should or shouldn't even hire a consultant. And part of it is that a consultant can really help you make money with your podcast. So if it's $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 or even $40,000, if you can see that just that one step of investing with that person, if you can see that just that one step can support you in making an additional $250,000 every single year, then it's just an investment. Like your parents probably told you that college was a good thing. Your parents probably told you that you needed to spend, $40,000 a year or $20,000 a year on college. And at the end of 4 years of, just say $25,000, it's $100,000. At the end of 4 years getting your degree, you're barely making like X amount of money. And with the podcast, if you can see that you could make an additional $250,000 or an additional $1.2 million each year, then $40,000 is a drop in the bucket. It's less expensive than going to college, and you're making more money than you would if you went to college. So there's definitely a growth mindset and a scarcity mindset, and I want you to be thinking and open-minded to growth mindset. Here's a few things to think about if you should or shouldn't hire a consultant. Number one, yes, they have been there and done that before. And in the next solo episode, it'll be episode number 28. This is episode 26. But in episode 28, we'll just give you some things to look at if you're hiring the right consultant or not. But in this episode, it's not about if it's the right consultant. It's just you may be able to work with somebody that's already been there and done that before. I was talking to one of our clients and a good friend of mine. His name's Tom Kroll. He started and then exited a company called Wholesaling Inc., a real estate thing. And right now we're helping him launch awesome thing. Well, he's doing most of that work. We're just helping him with a podcast. Something called Coaching Inc. He's helping a bunch of coaches. He's been in some of the biggest masterminds around. And just today, he and I were having a conversation about if you're hiring somebody that hasn't been there and done that before, they are the wrong person. So we will definitely get into that. He was talking about, like, I was telling him, how this company, I think I shared it in like the very last time I did a solo episode, but we're making between $40,000 and $50,000 a month. And I told him, hey, I want to move my company to 400 to 500,000. I want to 10X that. And he goes, okay, who are you hiring to get you there? And I'm like, I kind of have a couple of masterminds and I'm kind of talking to a couple of people and kind of asking a few questions, but it's really just me. And he goes, Adam, that's a mistake. And I'm like, what do you mean? I know what I'm doing in business. He goes, if you haven't made 400,000 or 500,000 consistently each month, then you can't hire yourself for that job. You need to hire somebody who's made $500,000 or $1 million a month in order to help you get to that plan. It's a mistake for you to be trying this on your own. I really resonated with that. And I'm glad that conversation literally happened today as I'm going into this episode. So point number 1, you should be hiring somebody who's been there and done that before. That's what consulting is. That's what coaching is. That's what having the right person in your corner can do for you. Number 2, business and podcasting strategy. If you don't have a good business or podcasting strategy and how they incorporate, how they interact, how they rely on each other to each grow and succeed, and so that your bottom line, your dollar succeeds, then you might not actually be able to make that money. So you need somebody who's kind of been there and done that before, who understands how to implement a podcast about business so that you can monetize your show. The next thing is, just speaking of monetization, it is monetization strategies. And by the way, if you go back into the history of this podcast, we had a podcast episode only on all of the different monetization strategies. I remember, I think it was either episode 5 or 6. I'm not looking at it. It was either episode 5 or 6 of the 6-part course where it was specific about monetization. But then again, in episode 10, both of these links are in the show notes right now. So you scroll down, you'll either get to episode 5 or 6, whichever one that was, if you would like to. And that gives you all of the monetization strategies. And then you could also go to episode 10, where it's pitfall number 21, where it's specific to those who aren't willing to monetize, and it gives you a lot more value. So your podcast consultant who has been there and done that before, it has the ability to show you that there's more than one way to monetize. And they're able to consult with you and sit down. Like, you go and listen to episode 5 or 6, and you're going to get like tons of different ideas, but you might not be able to anyway. You might not be able to just go and just pick one. You might need to sit down with someone like me, and I can pick your brain. I can ask you what you're trying to achieve, where you're trying to go. And then I can say, well, this is the clear way for you, so that you don't even have to make that decision. And you might be able to have a consultant who's been there and done that before, who's monetized in multiple different ways. I've monetized my podcast in so many different ways. They'll be able to help you. Okay, so that was the third one. The fourth one is you need a freaking pre-launch and a launch plan. You need a pre-launch plan and you need a launch plan. They are different. And if you haven't heard of each of them, a consultant probably has. And they should be able to support you in knowing all of the stuff that you got to do pre-launch. That means before you launch. And there's a lot. Again, if you go back into these episodes, we talk a little bit about the pre-launch and what goes into the pre-launch. We talk a little bit about the launch. I hope those help you. Go find them. I'm going to actually instruct my post-production team to go and get those links. So now they're getting the link of the pre-launch and they're getting the link to the launch. And those are in the show notes also. So you can have them. So you can go straight to them by scrolling down in the show notes right now as a listener. Okay, so that's 1, 2, number 3, number 4. And number 4 was pre-launch and launch plan. You need one, or you're just going to fail. I hate to say it that bluntly, but you cannot succeed in this podcasting business without understanding your plan, your strategy, what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, where your marketing dollars are going to go, etc. I got to be honest, you just will not be successful. It will not happen if you don't have a plan. Stephen Covey, again, He says, begin with the end in mind. That's number 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 is your artwork, your promo images and all that. If you work with somebody who's been around a lot of podcasters, like for example, I will use me as an example. I've helped lots and lots of people. So right now, just today, we are helping about 45 people on a regular basis, doing all of their artwork, their promo images, their post-production, their editing, emailing their guests for them, all of that stuff. We do that for tons of different podcasts. And with that experience, as we publish so many episodes every single week, every single month, it's a couple hundred episodes. We learn a lot as we go. And like working with someone like us, like our team, on that artwork, on those promo images, your intro music, your outro music, your voiceover, if you even need a voiceover, should you have a voiceover, the consultant can support you by sitting with you, consulting with you, asking you questions, and finding out where you want to go, what you want to achieve. And they can utilize for your artwork, like the right colors, psychological colors, not just your favorite color because they want to make you happy. You like pink, so they're going to use pink. You like green, so they're going to use green. You think green is alive and it means money and you really want green. But the consultant can sit down and they can say, who do you want to listen to the show? What colors attract them? What colors make them think certain things so that your podcast can be successful. Hey, my friend, as you know, this episode is sponsored by my company, growyourshow.com. We want you to be able to have the best tools at your disposal without costing you a whole arm and a leg. So right now you can get a free list of vetted equipment that like mics, mixers, webcams, sound treatment, editing software, everything that you need. I created the whole PDF with direct purchase links just to save you time and money, to help it be more convenient for you. So this free PDF will help you skip all the guesswork. If it's on there, it's vetted and approved by yours truly. And if it's not on there, it's probably not worth the money. So go ahead and get yours at growyourshow.com/PDF. Let's get back into the show. And having somebody in your corner to do that for artwork, for the promo images, for the music, for the voiceover. If your voiceover artist has like a more of like a masculine voice or more of a like feminine voice, more of a excitable voice or a relaxed voice, all of those things mean certain things to your exact avatar. And the consultant can answer those questions by literally interviewing you and extracting that from you so that they can get all this done. And just having the right artwork that resonates with your exact avatar, the right title of your podcast that resonates with your avatar, having a subtitle, which is also very important, on that artwork is going to allow somebody who's looking for you to be able to actually find you. And that consultant does that for you. We would do that for you. So that's a few reasons why literally you are losing money if you don't have a consultant on your team. I know it sounds crazy, but without the right pre-launch plan, you could fail everything. Without the actual launch plan, what happens in the first 8 weeks, how many episodes you're going to be publishing each week for the first 8 weeks, having the right artwork that really pulls in the right person, understanding how to implement this with your business in conjunction with your business, having the right calls to action, which is going to be, if you go to episode number 38, if you go to episode 38 from here, for a couple of you, you're listening to episode 26 before 38's out. But for most of you, once you're listening to this, episode 38's already there. You're listening to this after it's been published. That's what will happen with most people. So go to 36 or wait for episode 38. This is 26 and I got confused. Go to episode 38. That has more call to action secrets. We will make sure that that link is also in the show notes of this episode. So all about the call to action. If you don't have the right call to action, you will fail. And just to show you what we do when I support somebody launching a podcast, growing a podcast, when I'm consulting with you, when I'm trying to understand what it is you're trying to achieve, we use other psychological tips, tricks, tools, strategies, whatever you want to call it, that can support somebody to help make a decision. For example, I can help you figure out what is your call to action? What is your free giveaway? What is the lead magnet that you want people to get or download or go to? What are those things? And then I help you figure out how do we word it to make somebody want to take action. For example, in general, we are going to use negative selling, not sailing. Sailing sounds fun. I want to go on a boat, but we will use negative selling. All I mean by that is human beings, we always want to do the least difficult thing, the least awkward thing. We always want to run away from pain. If something hurts, we're going to take an aspirin. If we have a headache, we're going to take an aspirin. If our knee is in pain and it's not letting us be able to walk, we're going to go to the doctor. Nothing else will get us to go to the doctor like a pain in the neck. Just to share that with you. One of the best ways to get somebody to take action is to show them on the negative side. Even on this episode, literally, I've used that without even thinking about it, but I want to illustrate it now for you. There have been times on this episode that I have shown that you're actually leaving money on the table. You're losing money because you don't have a consultant. Because if all I said is, hey, if you have a consultant, and I'm just talking like rose-colored glasses, hey, if you have a consultant, you'll have a great monetization plan. Oh, if you have a consultant, your pre-launch, you'll feel great. Hey, if you have a consultant, you'll have beautiful artwork. I don't want to talk about just positive, 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 positive. If you have a consultant, this good thing will happen. If you have a good consultant, you'll feel good about yourself. That's not what we're talking about. Look, if you don't have a good consultant, if you aren't working with a consultant, unfortunately, you could be making $250,000 less every year. What could you do with that $250,000? That 20 grand a month? What could you do with that? For your kids, for your blah, 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 for your this, for your that? How good would it feel? Would you be able to finally buy that diamond ring for your lover? Would you be able to finally take that vacation you always wanted, right? It's negative selling. If you don't do this, if you make the mistake and try to save money by being a scarcity mindset person with this decision to make, unfortunately, you might not hit financial freedom. Unfortunately, you might not have a podcast that works. Unfortunately, it might be really stressful for you. Unfortunately, you might not be able to afford college for your kids or whatever it is. So it's important for me, if I'm going to help you, if I'm going to support you, if I'm going to get you to take action on something, that I give you a frickin' headache. You need that headache to be able to understand that an aspirin would feel really good right now. You know what I mean? And so that type of thing for like the calls to action is what I help you develop into your podcast. So as a consultant, and you don't have to work with us. In fact, I probably wouldn't be able to work with every single person anyways. In the next episode, I'm going to share with you how can you find that right person. But if you do it, and they can help you with your call to action, and they can help you make sure that you're solving the problem of your listener in your podcast. You understand that listener, you know that avatar, you know what they're struggling with, and you can help let them know that you have been there and done that before. And if they download your free thing, they won't have a headache anymore. And that type of psychology, that type of sales, that type of salesmanship, salespersonship, I should say, that type of thinking is something that you might miss out on your own unless you're already really, really good at it. If you work with a consultant, they can solve that problem for you, that helps you solve the problem for your listener, that allows your listener to actually listen, to actually call, to actually download, to actually schedule time with your company to be able to start doing business. So that's why you're literally losing money if you miss out on hiring a consultant to support you. A, with consulting itself. B, with business podcast strategy. C, or 3, I should say, with the monetization. 4, with pre-launch and launch plan that you need. 5, with the artwork, the promo image, I was going to say authentic music. All music's probably somehow authentic. I just mean original theme music for your podcast, for the voiceover. And then number 6, the guest interactions. If you have a consultant, they can give you the templates that you need to have the right guest interactions. And if you work with us, we actually just do it for you. We're the ones who do all that hard work. But at least having a consultant, you will be able to use these templates that have been proven and will allow you to work less, but to make more money and to get more results and to leave more of a legacy and impact on the world. So that's why you're losing out on money if you don't hire a consultant. I'll see you on the next episode. Oh, hey, because 3 of my clients came to me recently looking to find a way to have their podcast make them money instead of cost them money, we put together a resource for some of our clients, and I want to give it to you as well. It's something that did actually seem to help because one of them is now making $2,600 a month, another one's $4,500 a month, and the third is making between $5,000 and $10,000 each month. And so it's been a resource that's been incredibly valuable to them. It's our sponsor sheet template. It's a template of a sponsor sheet, and it gives you something that you can hand to potential sponsors and hopefully also be making $2,600, $4,500, or between $5,000 and $10,000 regularly each month with your podcast. So this has been a contributing factor to helping all 3 of those clients turn their podcast into an additional income stream for them. And the way that you can find it is just going to our website, growyourshow.com, but put in /templates, growyourshow.com/templates. And then you can actually download that template and others that could be valuable to your podcasting experience. I'll see you on the next episode.